Eric, so tell me, how did you meet Will? How did this duo, trumpet accordion is uncommon? How is it that you two
Ah,
met and decided, well, we're going to make the Atlantic Ocean smaller, and we're going to unite New and Old Amsterdam and make this duo?
we met each other through a mutual friend who is my not my manager, and I went with her to the United States, and she introduced me to Will one time, and okay, and then I knew he was playing in the Netherlands also with Han Benning and with Michael Moore, and I knew about this, and I heard him. And there are certain musicians you hear them and you think, oh, I would like to play with this guy. So somebody is really good, feels like, and and then one time we were in New York, and I asked Will, shall we meet up? Shall we have a little meeting? So Will booked a studio, and we went there for a couple of hours, and we had both some tunes, and this felt immediately like at home with somebody, immediately like this.
Hmm.
And then we thought, okay, let's you know let's go to do something. And then we had some Will booked. I don't know if it was in that period, but Will booked very soon a recording studio to make a little EP, and
Hmm.
to get some concerts. And I invited Will. I think we played a couple of times in the United States, and then I invited him for a tour in the Netherlands, and we wrote some more music both, and we did I think we did like a 30 concerts or so in
Hmm.
2 months. That was exactly between two lockdowns here in the Netherlands. We were very lucky, and we recorded two or three concerts, and we made this album out of it, and then we went to tour in the United States again. So yeah, one of the like if you play duo, it's very intimate, huh? Only with two persons, and there's also a lot of is that metaphor? Is that metaphor is a word, huh? In English as well? There's a metaphor like you speak with somebody and you immediately have the feeling that it's this. Or it can be that you think, okay, when can I get rid of this conversation and never see you again? But certain things are like this. You think, wow, where did I meet you before? And which other life were we friends already? Because I understand you so well with speaking. And this is the same with music. And that's what I had with Will. And when you play duo, this is so important because it's as if you are like, yeah, I mean, there's not so much in between naked or dressed on stage. It's very more naked is playing solo. That's very 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 fragile. And so it can duo playing can be very strong, but it's very fragile to play only with two persons on stage. There's even I heard from some record labels they don't take a duo seriously because they say no, a duo is not a band. And yeah,
Hmm.
but that was a very long answer to your question. I
So perfect.
That was my
So,
yeah.
Will, tell us, is that how you experienced this whole thing? I mean, so you met Will and excuse me, you met Eric, and it was so to say, the music at first sight.
Yeah, very much so. Like Eric said, sometimes you meet another musician and you feel immediately like you're with a kindred spirit. You're with someone who shares your interests and shares the same kind of feeling that you like in music. Everyone plays music with a different atmosphere or a different set of associations or a different emotional range. And I feel like ours lines up very well. And also the basic project of what we do as musicians, we both compose our own music. We both like to improvise a lot. We both, are sort of coming out of, we have multiple kinds of musical languages in our background. We both studied a lot of jazz. We both studied classical music, Eric more so than me. We've both played different kinds of folk and traditional music. So all these things, as we write this original repertoire for ourselves, we're thinking about all these things from our background and bringing them in together to make a blend that works for us. And that's really exciting. So every time, Eric brings a tune in or I bring a tune in, we get to develop it in our own way. And then every night on stage, we get to take a fresh approach to it with, because each piece includes some improvisation, and it's really exciting. And so I feel like we're, like Eric said, we're speaking the same language, we're kindred spirits, and we're working in the same way.
And so Will, now I saw your fantastic showcase at Drome at this Chamber Music America conference, and of course, we had jazz bands come on, we had string quartets, and then we had you two, trumpet accordion duo. What can people expect going to one of your concerts, listening to your music? How do you define this? Eric was just saying that, some producers want to stay away. They think a duo, okay, that's not a real group. But what is it? So tell us, what can we expect? Clearly something is very, very special here. How do you put that into words?
Well, that's hard to explain, and it's hard to put our music into a category. But, one thing that I really enjoyed about the conference is I feel like that's true of a lot of the groups at the conference. People are doing really interesting mixtures of genres, of styles, of repertoires. And I felt like, wow, we're in the right place with all these other groups. So in terms of what people can expect from us in a concert, we describe it as part jazz, part classical, and part folk. So you're going to hear some beautiful melodies. You're going to hear some exciting rhythmic pulses. You're going to hear a lot of improvisation. It's emotional. It's fun. It's all instrumental. We don't sing, of course. But it's basically a chamber music kind of experience. Is very intimate, like Eric said, but it also involves a lot of improvising. So I'd say it's a journey through a lot of different textures and a lot of different emotional landscapes. But sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's emotional, and we hope touching, and sometimes it's exciting.
So, Eric, as Will is mentioning all this, I'm thinking to myself, it's almost impossible to put music into words or to explain what music is unless you're listening to it. But, from my personal experience at your concert, I want to say it felt otherworldly. It was kind of like I was taken outside of what I, expected to hear music. It was kind of, I was in this different, it was so different. It was so charming that I was brought into a different mindset. I was brought to a different world. I don't think that's an exaggeration to say. And besides that, we had your fantastic humor and commentaries, Eric. So tell us, but can you put it into words? Can you tell people who don't know about your duo, who don't know what to expect when they have a trumpet accordion duo, this eclecticism? How do you put that into words?
Yeah. Well, Will said the right things. I would say, people like to classify music, if you improvise a little bit, into jazz. It happens to me so often. While I have a lot of classical and folk things as well, and I never understand this. They don't say you are a classical trumpet, no, a jazz trumpet or something like that. And I don't feel like that. I don't feel like I'm making this kind of music. I know how to play this kind of music, and there's a kind of a strange thing in that people who play jazz improvise, but improvisation is not only from jazz music. I mean, people did it already in the classical music at the times of Bach, but they forgot it because the composer started to write so many notes for them, So the people really, I know classical musicians who play in an orchestra who play so well and they don't dare to improvise one note. What I would say is following up to Will is that it is music who has all these kind of influences, and I don't have the intention, I don't have the feeling, I don't want to put a sticker on it. It is this, it is that, and I hope that people experience this as good music. And for the rest, I would like to say our music is music from the heart. Music is the language from the heart, and our music is the very conscious, the music from the heart. And I hope I play with my heart to your heart. And I hope that by the end of the concert, you are as happy as we already are. That I cannot define it for the rest. I mean, people want definitions, but I try to get away from it, because if you have a definition, it is this, it is that. If I play it different, is it wrong then? I do understand. Sometimes you need a definition for something, but I just try to get away from it because I don't feel comfortable. I say, okay, what are you then? If you're not a jazz trumpeter, I'm a trumpeter. I'm a musician. I make music. Like that.
And
Does
Eric,
that make sense?
It does. It does. And maybe following up on that, then, can you tell us about a great special experience you've had while playing together with Will? Can you take us into that? What does that feel like? What does it, when you said you met Will and that it was, this was something right? What's that feel like?
Well, I only can say I have a sort of a general feeling that Will is somebody, and you are on stage with him, you feel well. And Will is also, I'm a little bit more outside humoristic. I mean, I'm a trumpet player, so maybe I speak louder, and I'm trumpet you can play louder. Like a bass player, they're mostly behind in the band, they're mostly the quiet people. And Will is also a little bit more quiet, but he has this kind of dry humor. He sits there and he talks, and it's totally funny. And I just like to be with him on stage, and I feel that the connection is there, and that's the experience. The connection is there musically, and also in humor, and also the same message that you want to carry out. And that's every time that we have, you feel the audience, they react to that.
Will,
and I cannot say, sorry.
Oh yes, continue.
Sorry.
Excuse me, Eric. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For example, about Will's announcements, he has this kind of dry humor that I like so much, and this is we play one tune out of the Muppet Show, So this is a very nice thing what Will says, and it works in the Netherlands, it works in the United States, it works everywhere because everybody knows the Muppet Show. But Will knows something about. Maybe you should tell how you announce this tune. Then you know what I mean. Can you announce this tune for us, Will?
Oh, that's very nice. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Well, yeah, most of our music is music that we write, but we do a couple of cover versions of other people's music, and one is the Rainbow Connection from the Muppet movie. So I like to say, well, we talk about our different backgrounds and different cultural influences, but we do have some things in common. We both grew up watching the Muppet Show, and so we wanted to do this song by a great American artist, Kermit the Frog.
Yeah.
So that's
it.
What
I mean. I think that's very funny. But this is of course humor, but this is not humor just to be funny. This is music to bring people together. So this is everybody around the planet loves the Muppets, and everybody knows the Muppet Show. So it's always like it's with a little bit. By the way, I learned this a lot about American people in general. because they have a lot of flair always on stage. They know how to make showtime. And when I was young, I thought it was very irritating. Everybody has to make jokes or whatever, but they just have the right joke or the right connection or the right lightness on stage. It gives a certain lightness. I don't like to be on stage like, and play your music very well because everybody does the same thing in the morning, like after you had coffee, So everybody, I mean, it's kind of equal, and you make your music like more accessible. And if you make your music accessible, you can do a lot of things more than that. And accessible just in being friendly, having a joke here and there. And if you say music is from the heart, then everybody gets the point, because a lot of people forgot about that. A lot of people forgot about they forgot about that. Oh yeah, it's for my, and they start to feel certain things what they didn't know anymore. That's why I ask somebody, say, okay, are we happy here? Like in the, we are sitting here there. Okay, maybe we should say hello to our neighbors and say who we are and say hello and I wish you a nice concert. That opens up something to listen to music.
Fantastic. So
we talk a lot about the outside, but the outside has to do a lot with the inside, with the message, to bring the message.
And so Will, I wanted to say that I thought it was so charming what Eric said at the end of your concert at the showcase at the Chamber Music America conference. He said, yeah, come speak to our manager. She's right where you find your coffee and tea. And that made me think of my time in the Netherlands. Whenever I would go to any place, arrive someplace, there was a table with the coffee and tea. That was the most important place. That's where you met. That's where you kind of got from point one, to the next point. So what I hear Eric saying, do you agree with that? That it's your concerts, it's about you guys really embracing the public. It's about bringing everybody, they kind of feel closer together after your concerts. They feel like they've had this special experience that is really in that way transformative. Is that right?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I love what Eric says about our music being from the heart and connecting with people emotionally, because that's the central part of the experience for us. And I think we do, succeed in connecting with the audience and bringing them on this journey, to this place where they can, experience these feelings and have a lovely evening. And I also like the way that Eric talks to the audience. And, when you play music that's all instrumental, I think sometimes it helps, and especially when it's an unusual format, unusual repertoire, it helps the audience with their emotional experience if you give them a way in to the music. So I love the way Eric tells some very specific stories about, here's what inspired this piece. Maybe it was a Balkan brass band, or maybe it was the experience of, being alone in lockdown in the house for a few weeks. So there's very specific things that he tells the audience about each piece that helps them relate to it. So I think that's an important part of our show and a part of our performance.
Okay.
Excuse me, my phone is ringing. Turn it off.
Problem. But yeah, so I wanted to say, but before we get to Eric, I just wanted to say, Will, maybe can you tell us now about what are the upcoming projects and how can people get in touch with you? How can people follow what you're doing? Tell us what's exciting now.
Sure. Well, Eric has a visa for he got a 3-year visa for the United States. So we did a tour. Yes, hooray! It was a big project.
That was a big thing.
Yeah. Eric and his manager, it was a ton of work. And but we're so happy that Eric has the ability to come and play in the US so we did one tour this past fall, did about 15 concerts in 13 cities. And then we're going to be touring this October 2023, and another tour in September 2024. And, there are times apart from those when we are free too. So that those aren't the only times we're available, but those are what we're focusing on as our next touring periods. And so they can get in touch with us. We have a website, ericandwill.info, and they can reach our manager, Susanna Von Cannon, through that website. Or she's also, I think we're all in the Chamber of Music America directory as well. So yeah, and we this is our CD that we just released recently. It's called Two for the Road. This is the one we recorded live on our tour in the Netherlands last year.
Fantastic, Eric. And tell us, you want to say something, and then maybe you'll tell us how we can stay in touch with you, what's coming up exciting. Tell us everything.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you one thing, that it's not only about embracing the audience, of course, because that's a little bit, first comes embrace the music. We have to embrace the music before you can embrace the audience. If you don't embrace the music, if you're not a good player, if you don't do anything, if you don't do everything to play that music right and to embrace it, it won't work with the audience.
And Eric, tell us, what does that mean, though, concretely, to people who don't understand what you're talking about? Because you're already an accomplished trumpet player, just like Will is an accomplished accordionist. What does that mean when you say embrace the music?
Embrace the music is... well, it has nothing to do with music. Yeah, you can do it with music, but if you do something what you love, I mean, you can be in an office and embrace your office work. Then you will be a happy person. I mean, you do what you do right now. Are you going to your work, or are you do something what you love? That's the difference. And if you do something what you love, with anything what you do something also for other people. Then you do something with your heart. And this is what your appearance is. This is what you throw into the world. And if it's music or with office work, it's that smile on your face, is that emotional attitude what you have towards life, towards everything, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
I said it like that. You recorded it, right?
That's great. Yeah, I think, and for us, with our music, because we write most of our own music, that process of embracing the music and inhabiting it begins with writing music that we love, that does something for us emotionally, and then we can share that with each other and develop it in rehearsal, and then we can share that with the audience.
Okay, great. Eric, final thoughts. What you've got this visa now, you're going to be in the US, hooray. You've got these tours happening. What's exciting to you, and how can people reach out and get in touch with you about all that?
People can get in touch with me via the Eric and Will, but also ericvloeimans.com. My name.com is my website, and they can find everything what I'm doing. I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram. So I try to share as much as possible what I do. Not my private life, but work-wise. I'm not that kind of person who makes selfies while I'm having dinner or whatever. And no, this is about work.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you so much, Will.
Thank you, Simeon. Great talking with you.
Yes.